ang long-term solution obviously is to fix the pumping station there. And I think Secretary Vince Dizon is on it now, na talagang tinitingnan niya dahil sabi nga niya, abay, ang tagal-tagal na pala nito at ganito ang ngayon lang na report dahil nga
DA General Manager Nicolas Torre, the third General GM. Good to see you again. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
maraming salamat din ma'am for having me on the show.
Very welcome, sir. Nakakagulat po yung nangyari doon sa tinatawag na, tama ho ba, Parañaque, Baclaran Waterway Channel? Yun ba yung tawag doon?
Redemptorist.
Ano po? Redemptorist. Okay.
Redemptorist
Grabe yung
channel.
basura, GM. I know that I heard from Chairman Artes, this is also the first time this has happened. Would you say the same thing, sir, no?
Yes. Not in recent memory. Wala tayong maalala ng ganyang karami ang basurang pumasok dyan.
GM, what could have happened? Saan ho kaya at paano nangyari yung ganung kadami? Sabi nila, sea of garbage.
You know, ma'am, during the Kada chip days, there's a popular saying, there's always a time for reckoning. And maybe nature, for nature now, this is the time for reckoning. For all the years of accumulated garbage thrown anywhere. So when the water rose, it took all the garbage, and when the water subsided, it was left in the channel. So all those garbage were all accumulated in the channel, water channel.
I believe you, sir, at least with that. Sabi mo nga, sinabi niyo po kanina, kung anong itapon mo, ay babalik sa'yo yon. And you even said, kahit na maliit na candy wrapper, huwag niyo itatapon yan sa daan. Kahit po yung mga upos ng sigarilyo, huwag niyo itatapon yan sa daan. You know, there are proper places. There are, even if, kung wala pong basura, ilagay niyo sa bag ninyo. Hindi ho ba? Hintayin mo hanggang makauwi kayo. But it still begs the question, sir, saan nanggaling yung ganong kadaming basura dyan at napunta sa Redemptorist, sir?
We have to understand, no? Yung plastic, kahit ang apo ng apo natin, pag nandyan yan sa ilog, darating ng apo natin yan, halos walang nagbago dyan. Dudumi lang, iitim lang, pero still the same plastic. The component is still, the composition is still the same plastic. So,
And we saw a lot of that there,
yes. Kaya makita mo, hindi naman yung mga bagong plastic eh. Lumang-luma na yun. At saka mga old plastic na yun na talagang iningat lang ng tubig, baha, and then dinala pabalik sa channel.
I mean, sir, look at it. Even MMDA Chairman Artes was saying, kailangan nyo ng backhoe, obviously.
Yes.
How long will it take till that channel is cleaned up?
We cannot give a definite timeline dito, no? Because after na malinis natin yan, may nakamba pa na sa paligid na papasok pa uli ng mga basura. So tomorrow, with private individuals, specifically Rigasco, private groups, and the Bureau of Fire Protection, we'll be doing another massive cleanup drive with trucks being brought in, other heavy equipment brought in, and then we're preparing for 1,000 meals tomorrow for just the workers.
Yeah, ganun kadaming tao,
Ganun kadami.
sir, ang kailangan.
Yes.
Well, might as well dalhin na po lahat ng kaya na tao, equipment,
Yes.
para po malinis. But let me go back to my previous question, sir. Kailan ho kaya malilinis ito?
Isang sigurado rito, hindi natin titigilan ito hanggang sa hindi luminis ito. So, kaya namang linisin. Kayang linisin, there's no question about it. Ang mas malaking tanong nga lang is, pagkatapos nating linisin, ano ang sunod kinabukasan? Because just like in many other water channels that we have cleaned in the previous projects, the next a few days after cleaning, when we
Basura
come
na
back,
naman.
basura na naman.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, and that makes the job cyclical, sir. Kasi paulit-ulit lang po yung trabaho.
Yeah.
But what are the important points that need to be addressed here, sir? Kasi like I asked you a while ago, saan ho kaya galing ito? Of course, it has to come maybe from one area or two areas, sir. I mean, do we need to know exactly where it came from, what can be done, and what we should do as a country, sir?
You know, this problem is multifaceted. No, definitely there's no a single entity that can solve this. Okay, so the government has the obligation to set up the system for the proper waste disposal, because we're in a metropolis. Hindi naman ito pwede na bawat bahay gumawa na lang ng compost pit niya. No, hindi po pwede yan. So the government has the responsibility to set up the system, okay, for the garbage disposal, garbage collection, the landfill, the MRFs, okay? But on the other side, there's also that responsibility of the people to also actually comply with the law. Because there's a law. Kaya nga may hinuhuli kami, may minumultahan, may mga pinagko-community service because they have to comply with the law, not to throw or dispose any of their waste anywhere. Dahil meron talagang lugar na dapat pagtapunan ng basura. So, ibig sabihin, the community as a whole also has that responsibility not to add stress to the system. Stress to the system. There's a system that we are doing, stressed yan dahil whether we like it or not, garbage is a real byproduct of a community. Okay? Hindi na talaga mawala yan. For Metro Manila, that's 12,000 tons per day. Okay? So, but the community is contributing 1,000 tons of garbage monthly thrown in the waterways, collected in our pumping stations. 1,000 tons. Yan. Kasi nasa 12,000
per month,
1,000 tons per month. Yeah. Kasi nasa 5,000 ang nakukuha namin sa waterways, 7,000 tons ang nakukuha namin sa pumping stations annually. So that will translate into 1,000 tons both from the waterways and the pumping stations alone. At hindi pa siguradong yan ay nakukuha namin lahat. Dahil nakita natin sa waterways, ito, daang tonelada ito. Definitely, this will run into hundreds of tons, if not thousands of tons.
Very
Hindi namin ma-estimate pa hanggang sa
But
ngayon.
when you see something like that, sir, I understand obviously what you're saying. Government has the responsibility, and we, as part of the citizenry, have a responsibility as well. How can this not happen? How can we avoid this from happening, sir?
Okay, so we are now, part of our investigation, part of our review of the systems is looking into the various components. Una dyan, yung waste management ng MMDA, the collection chain, the
Sa
disposal
LGU,
chain,
sir.
yes, LGU, and then the disposal sa landfill. Tapos yung sistema nung MRF, nung pagkukoleksyon, nung pagsesegregate, at pagdadala sa ating mga landfill. So, that's one thing that we are looking at. And then, second, we are looking also at how the barangays are educating their citizenry, educating their communities. Kasi nakikita natin, like ito, mismong personal ko nakita, ang ating mga pumping stations, meron diyang mga retarding pan. Okay? At ang mga pumping station, katabihan ng mga malalaking estero. Okay? Ang mga estero na ito, pinoproteksyonan na natin ng mga chicken wire, hog wire, para, una, hindi mahulog ang tao sa estero. Pangalawa, para hindi na matapunan ng kung ano. So makikita rin natin, itong mga hog wire nito, may mga butas. Kasi dito ipinapasok ang mga dustpan. Pag sila ay naglilinis sa kanilang bakuran, yung dustpan, diretso sa estero. Sinasabi nga namin, pinipituhan namin, tinitingnan lang kami.
That, no? General? Yeah.
Something as simple as that. Because isang dustpan, gawin mo 1,000,000 dustpan yan.
Yeah.
So that will be 1,000,000 dustpans.
I agree with you, sir, that it also has to come definitely from the barangay level to educate each and every one of us. At saka, especially, sir, yun pong nasa tubig, anybody in the water or who is at the water, kailangan, wag ho tayo magtatapon ng kahit na ano. Sabi nga, kung anong itapon mo, yan po ay babalik sa'yo. All right.
Kaya nga, ang sa akin din naman, more importantly, seryosohin natin. Pinost ko kanina ang picture ko with that basura. Abay talagang ang mga bashers sumama ka na dyan sa basura, etc. And nobody, parang napakalaki ng segment ng population natin na parang hindi siniseryoso ang problema.
Yeah.
Na ito, seryoso na to. Pinapakita natin. We want to show to the people, ito yung problema natin. Ang sa iba, maniwala ka dyan. A big segment of our population.
Yeah, this is something that needs to be taken very, very seriously,
yes,
sir.
definitely. Yeah. At magiging seryoso lang ang mga yan. Pag makita nila na sila
Pag sila ay affected.
galiig na ang baha. Kaya pag yung pag-iisip na
Ano ho ba
okay lang
yun?
yan, wala kaming pakialam
We
dyan,
don't
okay lang
care
yan.
because it's not near us. Ganun ho
Yeah.
ba yun? We don't care because it's far from us?
Hindi kami kasali dyan kasi hindi naman kami apektado eh. So, okay lang yan, bahala kayo dyan. Parang ganon, nawala ang sense of community natin.
Yeah, that's very important. Sir, apart from that, you also went to Marikina.
Yeah.
Dito po sa Malanday-Tumana boundary.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened there, sir. Because
Okay.
parang alam ko, nag-deploy kayo ng mobile pumps?
Okay, merong isang creek kasi doon na ang tubig ay kasing level na halos sa Marikina River. So, ang design ng ating flood control ay gumawa ng isang pumping station na sinisip-sip doon from that creek. Kasi ang creek na yun, putol yun eh. Hindi yun creek na galing sa kung saan. Hanggang JP Rizal lang yun. Maiksi lang yun. Maiksi lang ang creek na yun. Pero very substantial kasi pag napuno siya, umaapaw sa kalsada. At pag umapaw sa kalsada, diretso sa loob ng bahay ng mga nakatira ron because it's a populated area. So, gumawa ng pumping station doon. It's quite old pumping station. So, sa ngayon, more than, ang sabi nga ng iba doon is, hindi ko sigurado ang ano, pero may nagsabi sa akin doon, 7 years, 8 years, parang ganon. And, hindi gumagana, may diferensya ang motor, etc. So, nilagyan natin ng maliliit na pumping station, na mobile pump, submersible. So, nagdala tayo ng submersible pump doon at ang purpose lang ng submersible pump, kasi 5 pump yun, ang kanyang capacity lang talaga is nasa less than 1 cubic meter per second. Ang purpose lang talaga nung time ng gabi na yon is pigilin lang ang further na pagtaas ng tubig. Kasi tumataas pa eh, may ulan pa nung gabi, kagabi. At saka nung dala pa nung previous na mga ulan na nagde-drain pa ang mga tubig galing sa lupa. So nagdala tayo ng malaking motor at malaking bago na supposedly for delivery pa lang, pinatest na natin sa contractor. So sa 3 hours na operation niya naman ay nabawasan natin ng more than almost 2 meters ang pagbaba ng tubig.
So that worked?
That worked, yeah.
Okay.
That worked, yeah. Ang gusto ko lang i-clarify doon, kasi may mga during the time ng operation niya, may kumalas na may mga kumalas na mga parte.
Opo.
At this is still under warranty kasi pa-deliver pa lang eh. Actually, hindi pa nababayaran ng gobyerno yun. So, sinabihan namin ng contractor na make sure that it works. So, naging demonstration niya actually yun. And it worked really. Pag ito ay na-assemble in specifications, ang nakakabwisit lang is yung mga bashers na walang magawa, para bang ang tingin ka agad eh, ito na naman.
Kaya po may storya doon na pumalya.
Yeah, pumalya. Kasi naputol. Hindi naman naputol. Kumalas. Dahil maluwag pa yung clip at napakalakas ng pressure talaga na dinideliver ng, that is 1 cubic meter per second ang kanyang output capacity nun. So, kaya talagang kinaumagahan, pagbalik ko, iniwanan ko ng alauna, ng madaling araw, binalikan ko mga 3 hours later, alas 5, ay talagang ubos ang tubig dun sa creek na yun.
But how do you fix that creek? Because dinala nyo lang po yung mobile pumping stations doon. Sabi mo may existing doon na 7 to 8 years. Kailangan pong ayusin yun kasi parang hindi ho gumagana?
Yeah, ang long-term solution obviously is to fix the pumping station there. And I think Secretary Vince Dizon is on it now, na talagang tinitingnan niya dahil sabi nga niya, abay, ang tagal-tagal na pala nito at ganito ang ngayon lang na report dahil nga maalala ko lang doon dahil doon napaalis ako bigla sa isang wedding reception na ako pa ninong pa naman ako. Bigla ako napatakbo tuloy sa
Napasugod po kayo doon.
kaya
Ano nangyari
nakakurbata
doon,
ako, naka-Amerikana ako na mag-responde doon dahil wala na, hindi na makapagbihis at wala akong dalang gamit. So, tumakbo tayo doon para matingnan ang to supervise actually, to
there,
give
sir?
a voice to our people on the ground. What happened there is that there's an old wall, okay? Ang nakita natin is, initial this is all under investigation. But personally, what I saw is an old wall. At pagkatapos na mag-collapse siya, merong tumambad na bagong wall na mas mababa, pero mas matibay na dihamak. Dahil kitang-kita yung specs talaga, ang engineering specs nun, kitang-kita na yung laki nung poste at yung layo ng mga poste.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the one we're showing right now.
Yeah, that's
no?
one. Yeah. So kung makita niyo yan, may naiwan na wall.
Yeah.
may naiwan na wall, buo yung wall na yan. So it's
So there was a new wall
Inside.
behind,
Yeah.
the old wall.
inside the
Okay.
property, most probably of the whoever is living in there.
So alam niya, siguro pinrotektahan na lang yung kanyang area dyan.
Ang isang nakita natin dyan, may mga tanim. So what we're saying is, hindi ko alam kung growth or tinanim nila. So in between the old wall and the new wall ay may lupa. And nasaturate most probably ng tubig yun.
Yeah.
At kaya siya nag-collapse.
All right. Sir, just the most flooded area that you can tell us after all these many days of rains?
It's the whole of Metro Manila who received that 302 millimeter of rain in 48 hours. So, I think it's the whole Metro Manila. Now, may mga low-lying areas natin, nakita nga, sabi nga ni Chairman Don kanina, na makita natin, totoo yan, tanggap natin na ang Kamanawan supposedly ay low-lying masyado yan. Pero nakita natin sa South ang mas malaking tinamaan ngayon. So, yan ang nire-review natin
Las
kung ano ang nangyari.
Piñas,
Las Piñas, Parañaque.
hindi ho ba?
So, tinitingnan natin ngayon kung ano ang pwedeng magawa doon. Kasi, tanggapin natin, pag umulan talagang may maiwang tubig talaga sa kalsada. Pero ang ating tamang pamantayan ng flood control program effectiveness is dapat we have to look how wide was the area affected, how deep were the flood waters, and how far it receded. So if it recedes in accordance to expectations, well, makita natin na yan ay nagtatrabaho. But
works
there's no
kapag
excuse.
ganon.
There's no excuse for some of the sins na nakita natin dahil may mga malalalim talaga. Wala namang design na dapat nandun sa walang design na magsasabi na dapat ganyang kalalim ang tubig, no? So, i-reviewin natin because if we look at the study ng GCA-funded study nung design ng storm drains natin, ang assumption doon for the 48-hour rainfall, which is the average ng mga yung may typhoon, pag may typhoon, may mga habagat, 48 hours ang normal na duration nun eh. Ang unang assumption is nasa 239 millimeter of water and 200 or nung in-adjust 293 millimeters of water. So kung makita natin in this episode 302 millimeters of water for the 48 hours.
So much higher.
We have received a much higher amount of rain, extraordinary amount of rain in August dito sa episode na to. But it's not an excuse. Nakita natin, the rains provided us the data kung ano ang dapat gawin. And it is now imperative on us to actually make sure that the design capacity and everything in the flood control and mitigation infrastructure should
be addressed properly, no? And now that we're seeing the errors or the problems, andyan na po, it's staring at us already. I wanted to ask you though, in a situation like this, yung meron pong mga humihingi ng tulong, pwede ba silang humingi ng tulong dun sa hotline ninyo, yung 136?
Yeah.
Or is it just,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
pwede din?
We receive calls from there and siyempre ang mga last miler natin dyan na nagpo-provide ng actual na tulong ay kinokontak natin at pinararatingin natin ang information.
Just for those who might not know it, this hotline 136 is the number you can call. You reintroduced this, strengthened it, I think back in February, sir?
Yes,
Tama ho
yes,
ba? So kapag ang landline, 02136 po ang tatawagan. Pag cellphone po, ganun din po ba?
Actually, 136 lang. Cellphone,
136.
landline, 136
Pag kahit
lang.
landline, 136 lang. And there's a promise here. 5 rings in 5 minutes. Minsan, kailangan sagutin po ito.
In 5 rings.
In 5 rings at kailangan makapag-dispatch ng team in 5 minutes.
yeah.
Sir, how are you guys doing so far?
Yeah, kahit na dito ngayon, pwede nating testingin. We can call 136 and we assure you that we'll answer you in 5 rings.
Pero the dispatch, sir.
The dispatch now is, ang dispatch na 5 minutes kasi niyan is for the traffic incidents in our area of operations. The 10 radial roads, R1 to R10, and the 6 circumferential roads, C1 to C6. Essentially, the major roads of Metro Manila. Baka hindi alam ng mga ibang maraming tao, ang EDSA is C4.
C4 ba?
Circumferential 4 yan.
I see. I didn't know that
Yes.
either. So, and are you receiving a lot of calls?
Yeah, tumataas because of the
Information
dissemination and drives that we are doing, pati ang mga karatulan na nandyan sa EDSA, dumadami ang ating calls. Dati kasi 80 calls per day lang yan eh. So,
Now?
in a community of 14 million people, that's very, very small. So sa ngayon, umabot na tayo ng mga around 200.
Okay.
So 8
Almost a
times.
250%
Dati
increase.
80 calls for 24 hours. Ngayon, parang 80 to 90 calls per shift of 8 hours.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's about 240 in 24 hours. Sino ba pwede tumawag? Kapag nagkaroon ka ng, if you see something na nangyari po sa daan, kapag ikay na-aksidente, ikay nasiraan, pwede kang tumawag sa 136, sir.
136,
Diretso lang po yun. Okay. Any other improvements there that you plan to do, sir, sa 136?
Well, 136 is essentially caters parang backup siya ng 911, no? An alternate number sa 911. So if ever na may IVR na kaming ilalagay dyan, oh my goodness, sorry for that. Ang IVR namin ngayon, ini-improve natin in such a way na dial 1 for emergency, dial 2 for other concerns, dial 3 for, ito, pinag-uusapan namin is if we include yung anti-suicide hotline or mental health natin. Because, Metro Manila records around 45 to 60 suicides per month. So essentially, it's daily may isa and every other day may dalawa. So it's quite
Something, an issue that needs to be addressed, sir. Sir, while you're here, you mentioned yung karatula. Meron po kayo sa Isabela, hindi ho ba? Yung ingat sa daan. Tatakbo ho ka ba, sir? Are you running?
There was one company, okay. Makita naman natin sa ating mga posters kung anong company yon. Well, they believe that my face is something that will attract motorists to their message na ingat sa daan. And well, to some extent, I don't have any argument on that. Nakita mo naman na ang mileage na nakuha nila doon is napakalaki rin. And on my part, kung maipadala naman natin may send naman natin ang message. There's nothing wrong with that. So sabi
But
ko
it's
sa
not
kanila,
a prelude to you running.
I'm really focused on my job right now. And kung sa Batanggenyo pa, kung sa banda-banda riyan, may ibigay ang taong bayan na trabaho para sa atin, desisyon na natin pag dumating ang araw na yan.
Okay, you're ready for anything, kumbaga, sir. I've always been
I'm trying to be ready because naalala ko palagi si Dolphy, madali ang tumakbo, paano pag nanalo? Diba? Which is naging critic sa ibang mga nandyan ngayon. So, ayoko namang masama sa kanila dyan na pagdating ng panahon pala, hindi mo pala alam ng trabaho, tumakbo ka pa.
One last topic, sir. I wish I'd get an answer from you. Is this the extradition na hinihingi po ng US kay Pastor Apollo Quiboloy? Alam naman po natin the role you played in the arrest of Quiboloy. Ito na po, na humingi na po ng formal request ng Estados Unidos para dalhin po siya sa US para to face the charges filed against him. In your opinion, sir, should he face the charges here first and then subsequently brought to the US or dalhin na po sa US? Ano hong inyong saloobin?
Hindi kita follower sa Facebook, ano? Follow me on Facebook, ano?
Hindi po ako
follow me on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Sorry, sir.
Nicolas Torre III. Follow niyo ako. Para makita niyo may update because I have made a post regarding that matter. Nung nabalitaan ko nga sa media na nag-request na ang US for his extradition. Nagpasalamat ako sa lahat ng mga magigiting na mga taong sumama sa akin at na-validate ang aming trabaho na talagang legal ang there's no question now that almost no question remaining now on the legality of his arrest and the legality of the way we arrested him kasi talaga naman napaka-challenging yun. 16 days na operation yun ang pag-aresto namin sa kanya. So sa ngayon, I would leave it to the courts, to the system on how he's going to face the charges in the United States. May mga system kasi dyan na pwede namang kahit na ongoing ang cases na rito sa Pilipinas, he can be brought for trial sa US and then be brought here again for his trial. But there's also another way na ibigay siya sa US kung matapos na ma-serve niya ang sentence niya rito, kung ano man ang sentence na makukuha niya sa local case. But I leave it to the systems. There's a system that will deal with that. Nakasulat naman yan. And I'm confident that bottom line dyan is truth and justice will prevail.
You don't have a personal choice, sir. That's why I asked you. Wala po kayong personal choice. Dito muna o dali na lang po sa Estados Unidos?
For me, it really doesn't matter. He is still in jail. Whether it's a jail in the Philippines or jail in the United States, it's still the same. It's justice is just the most important there is the victims na nagreklamo will get the justice that they're looking for.
MMDA General Manager Nicolas Torre III, sir. Pleasure to have you. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Thank
Always a
you.
pleasure to be here, ma'am. Thank
That's
you.
On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionaire News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb.